So good evening, everybody, and welcome to our class. Tonight is another exciting episode, and I want to believe that you can hear me. Am I audible? Let's hear something in the chat. Good evening, all of you, and I hope you enjoyed this afternoon's industry expert session, and it was wonderful. And most of the things that we've been learning, you heard most of them in the industry session. All right, so tonight we go through, want to go through closing episodes of the cybersecurity fundamentals training. And we have two main things to cover. Number one is about preventing malware and also looking at antiviruses, getting some knowledge about antiviruses. And then we also have to look at cleaning infected systems. And so far, we have been learning about malware. Since we started this particular program, we discussed various types of cyber attacks, and we started learning about malware. By this time, we are familiar with the various types of malware, and we are now ending our training with best practices to prevent malware, because preventing malware is better than cleaning systems that are infected. And so that is what we want to look at. And after that, we will talk a little bit about antiviruses. And then our final session will be about cleaning systems that are infected with malware. So yes, it's possible to clean systems that are infected, but the best thing is to prevent malware in the first place. So great to have you all in the class. Tonight is another wonderful session, and some of the things we learned this morning in the morning class were repeated in the afternoon. So in this evening class, we'll be talking about some few things like that. All right, so to get into the lesson, I want to begin with this short message, and I believe you can see my screen. I want to believe that my screen is showing and you can hear me well. And wonderful. All right, so this message is simple. It says that there is no elevator to success. There is no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs. Wow, you have to take the stairs. Sometimes when you see other people and you see professionals working and they are so skilled and they are doing things, and you also desire to have certain careers, what is going to happen is that you are not going to be helicoptered from the ground and placed at the top of the mountain where you want to get to. Yes, so you see people up there, and what you have to understand is that you also have to go through the process of climbing the mountain step by step. And so once you go through the process, you go through a whole lot of challenges, but then the process gives you the experience, prepares you for the top. All right. So you are not going to be helicoptered to the top. And if you are helicoptered to the top, you are not going to get the experience that you need. And that is not success. So to get real success, there is no elevator that will just carry you, or there's no helicopter that will just move you to the top like that. You need to take the stairs, go through the process, climb the mountain little by little, and you too will get there. So as we are going through training, we are climbing the mountain, we are taking the stairs little by little, and very soon we will get to the top. All right, so welcome to class. My name is Darlington, and I'll be taking you through the cybersecurity fundamental session. Where we've gotten to now, we want to look at malware prevention. My internet may not be very stable right now. I'm in a different location and the connection is behaving funny, although it is a very powerful internet service. And so if it is not working well, please let me know. If you can't hear my voice, if you can't see my screen, please let me know and I will do something about it. All right, so we are talking about preventing malware. If you can hear me, please put this in the chat for me, preventing malware. My chat is not even loading very well. Let me see if I can see what you put in. Preventing malware. Please put that in the chat for me. Preventing malware, preventing malware. Thank you very much. Let me see those who are typing it. Okay. Thank you so much. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now I can see. Thank you so much. All right. So we have to understand that the most effective defense against malware begins with prevention. Now, all the malware that we have studied about, we have seen how dangerous they are. We have seen how their payloads are very dangerous and they can do unimaginable things to us. And in cybersecurity, our job is to learn how to defend systems, okay? So cybersecurity is not really about you hacking or doing illegal things or using tools to affect other people. Those things are crimes and those things are against the law and those things are not done by cybersecurity professionals. So we in security, what we do is to defend systems against all the attacks that cybersecurity, that hackers, all the attacks that hackers do against computers and other people. All right. And the most effective defense against malware begins with prevention. Preventing malware is the first line of defense. While it is possible to remove malware after an infection, this means that it is possible to remove malware after a system is infected. However, the damage it causes, such as data breaches, financial losses, or system corruption, can be severe and sometimes irreversible. All right, so the damage of certain malware, like ransomware, yesterday we learned about ransomware, the damage caused by ransomware is irreversible. All right, so we don't wait for systems to be infected, saying that we can clean and remove them. While that is possible, what we need to do is to ensure that we prevent malware, because malware thrives on unsafe practices and ignorance. Malware thrives on unsafe practices. And so if you do the wrong things, then you are vulnerable. That is where the vulnerability comes in. If you do the wrong things and if you are ignorant, all right? So today we saw some of the attacks and how hackers can go through certain vulnerabilities in your software to get you. And he even mentioned that if you have put up all your defenses, they can still look for vulnerabilities in your software and exploit them, all right? And so malware and hackers, they thrive on unsafe practices, doing the wrong things, and ignorance. So preventing these attacks requires a combination of certain security practices. These are called best security practices. And using best security practices is the best way of defending systems, all right? and the best way of preventing systems, knowing how to do things right. Because doing things wrong is what leads to the attacks. And doing things right will prevent the attacks and will solve more than 70% of the problem you have in defending systems. All right. So best security practices, tools, there are certain tools that you have to add as well, and user awareness and education. All right. So you knowing what to do plays a key role in preventing malware. And as a security professional or anyone trained in security, what you really want to do is to make sure that the hackers don't get onto the systems. The hackers don't get onto the systems. Some of the hackers are so dangerous, and they have tools that can do dangerous things. So your job is to ensure that they don't get onto the systems, and it comes from best practices, setting tools, and awareness. Now, to protect against these risks, it's essential to understand effective malware techniques. All right. And so I'm going to discuss with you 10 effective malware prevention techniques. And these are techniques or practices that should become your habits, the habit of a security conscious person. All right. And so by adopting these safe computing habits, you can reduce the risk and maintain a secure environment. All right. Again, you have to understand that security professionals are people trained to prevent attacks. Don't ever think that it is about launching attacks. Okay, cybersecurity training is about defense always, defense always. So whatever you learn is to help you know what is going on. Okay, learning about malware and today seeing some of the hacking techniques, they are there to help you understand what is happening. Okay, so that you can learn how to defend, all right? So we are not teaching you to know how to do wrong things or illegal things. We are giving you awareness. It is part of the education to give you the exposure and the awareness, but your job is to understand the defense. We are all for defense, 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 defending systems, defending systems, defending systems. Please, if you can hear me, type defending systems in the chat for me. Defending systems. That is what we are here for. We defend systems. We defend systems. We are here to defend systems. So let me see the first person who is going to defend systems. Yes. So most of you are going to be doing cybersecurity, and there's a whole lot to learn, and it is going to be an interesting journey, and we are going to be well equipped. All right, so let's move on to 10 essential techniques for effective malware prevention. I'm going to give you 10 things that you need to do to prevent the malware attacks. And these are simply habits. All right, so I'll take them one by one and we will move, talk about all of them. Now, the first one says that keep software and systems updated. Keep software and systems updated. Keep software and systems updated. And I've always been telling you that anytime you are learning about preventing malware, the first thing is always about updates. Sometimes we don't understand the importance of updates, but in preventing malware, updates is number one in preventing malware. So here it says that keep software and systems update. And over here, I'm going to ask a question that I asked in the morning class. How many types of software do we have? How many types of software do we have? Who can tell me the types of software we have? How many types of software do we have? If you can tell us, please put it in the chat. All right, so I can see 2, and you can tell us what they are. All right, so when it comes to software, anytime you hear software, you understand that there are different types of software. All right, computers are made up of hardware and software. All right, so when we look at software, there are different types of software. All right, we have what is called system software. System software. All right, please put that in the chat for me. We have system software. Please put that in the chat for me. We have system software. And all right, wonderful. We also have what is called application software. All right. We also have what is called application software. So please put that in the chat for me. Application software. All right. And I also mentioned something in the morning. We have what is called enterprise software. Please put that in the chat for me. With time, I'll give you more information about enterprise software. Please put that in the chat for me. Enterprise software, put that in the chat for me. And we also have what is called a firmware. Firmware. Please put firmware, one word, firmware. Firmware in the chat. And I mentioned in the morning that the word software is spelled software for both singular and plural. All right, there's nothing like softwares, as you hear people say, softwares. There's nothing like softwares, okay? So in IT, you are going to discover that we don't have anything like softwares. We only have software. And anytime you want to use that word, make sure you use it without an S. It is called software. So computers are made up of hardware and software. But we have different types of software. We have application software, we have system software, we have enterprise software, we have firmware. We have firmware. Now, when we say system software, we are talking about any software that the system requires to function. And so when your computer is starting, your computer requires software to load the environment for the user to use the computer. All right, so any software that the system requires to function, requires to work, and computers operate with software. All right, all the hardware you have in your system, they are controlled by software. So when you press the power button and you turn on a computer, it is software that will boot the computer and make the computer to work and provide an environment for the end user to use the software, to use the computer. All right. So there are a number of software that the computer itself requires to operate. Those ones are called system software. One example of system software is the operating system. The operating system is one example of system software. The operating system is not software that we use to perform a task. It is software that the system itself requires to operate. So system software are those kinds of software. Now, we also have what is called application software. And application software refers to any software that is used by an end user to perform a task. So any software used by an end user to perform a task is referred to as an application software. What do I mean by end user? In computing or information technology, there are certain terminologies that we use. All right, today I mentioned firmware. Last time we mentioned payload. We mentioned metadata. Today, we are talking about end user. Anytime you hear end user, it refers to the user of an application or the user of the computer system. The user of a computer is called the end user. And the end user requires certain software to perform tasks for themselves. All right. So for example, if I want to type a document, I need a software like Microsoft Word. Now, Microsoft Word is not a system software. It is not software that the computer requires to function. Whether there is Microsoft Word on a computer or not, the computer will still work perfectly. All right. Whether there is VLC media player on a computer or not, the computer will still work perfectly. All right. Whether there's PowerPoint on a computer or not, the computer will still work. So PowerPoint is not a software that a system requires to function. PowerPoint is a software that a user needs to do their job. If you want to design something, you may want to use Photoshop or CorelDRAW. Photoshop is an application software because it is software that the user needs to do his thing. It is not software that makes the system function. Application software is also referred to as application. So as you keep on studying, sometimes you see the term application. When we say application, we refer to application software. Sometimes we just refer to them as apps. So anytime you hear app or apps, we are talking about applications. And if you want to use software in plural terms, and you are referring to applications, you can just say software applications. Then you can use an S, or you can just say applications. All right, but you can't say softwares. We don't have softwares. We have software applications or apps. All right, so keep software and systems updated. Software updates are crucial for patching security vulnerabilities and could be exploited by malware. Today, we heard it from the industry experts that they can exploit software. And the first software that is exploited most of the time is the operating system. We mentioned that when there are updates, most of the time the updates are updates for security patching, not necessarily function upgrade. Sometimes they are for features and functions, but most of the time updates are for security patches because billions of people around the world are using the same software. And the hackers look for vulnerabilities in those software to get you. So if you have applied all the security defenses, but when it comes to software, there are vulnerabilities, they will exploit them. Today, we heard it in the afternoon. All right. So software updates are crucial for security patching or for patching security and could be exploited by malware. Outdated software is a common entry point for attackers. And so when it comes to software, number one, operating system updates. Ensure that your operating system is always up to date. Most updates contain security patches that address known vulnerabilities. Then application updates. Regularly update all applications. So here you are seeing the term applications. So anytime you hear applications, we are talking about application software. All right. Then, like I mentioned, we also have enterprise software. We have software created for business operations and business functions and used only by corporations. These types of software are referred to as enterprise software. Later, I'll provide more information about these types, but these types are special software created for business processes. All right, and so if you look at certain programs like HR software, management information systems for businesses. Those are types of enterprise software. And like I said, I provide more information with time. We also have a type of software called firmware. All right, firmware. Now, firmware is another type of software that is built to control the hardware of an electronic device. All right, this particular software is usually stored on what we call the BIOS, or is stored on the ROM, the read-only memory on the hardware. And this particular software controls how the hardware boots and operates at a certain level. Almost every electronic device has a firmware, and there are some devices, they are used through firmware. For example, if you have a calculator, when you turn on your calculator, what you see allowing you to compute and enter numbers and calculate and get results, it is software that is written as a program. This particular program is stored directly on the motherboard and controls that electronic device. If you are using a digital camera, what allows you to control the digital camera or to turn it on, turn it off, and use it is a firmware. Computers also have firmware. When you turn on a computer, the firmware is the first software that controls the booting of your computer. The firmware goes through several processes to ensure that the computer is safe for booting. Once it goes through the process and sees that everything is safe, it hands over control to the operating system. And so if you remember some of the old desktops, you realize that anytime you turn it on, some white things will be running, telling you that keyboard okay, mouse okay sometimes, and your memory is this or that is that. Some white things will be running before later you see your Windows logos, your Windows logo. All right, that thing happens all the time. These times they are faster, and so you may not see them most of the time. But anytime you press the power button, there is something called a firmware that is on your computer. On computers, we call the firmware BIOS. All right, we call the firmware BIOS. And this particular firmware, that is what controls the hardware and controls the booting of your computer and several other tasks on the machine. Your firmware is stored on the ROM of your computer, and it has its own responsibilities. After the firmware does its work, then it will give control to the system software or the operating system for the operating system to continue with the booting of the computer. All right, so over here, it says that regularly update all applications, including your web browsers, your media players, and productivity tools. Then also ensure that firmware updates are done whenever possible. Most of the time, firmware, you don't easily update firmware. And as a matter of fact, it takes certain special processes or being enabled by certain things before you can do a firmware update. Okay, firmware is not something that we tamper with anyhow, all right? So here it says that keep all firmware, particularly for your routers, because your router has a firmware, and other networking device current to mitigate security risks. Then also turn on automatic updates if possible. Enable automatic updates wherever possible to ensure continuous protection with the latest security patches. All right. So sometimes what happens is that we turn off automatic updates. And so anytime there are updates, we don't get them. But when it comes to security training, cybersecurity training, we learn that updates are very important. And so on your Windows system, ensure that you are always updating. So to update your system, let me show you some of the places where you can update your system. So on your desktop, on the desktop over here, when you click on Start and you go to Settings, you can see Windows Updates right here. And with Windows Updates, you can just click on it and you see all the updates you are supposed to do. So with this, you can see that some of them are downloading. All right. So the updates you see here, you can click on a button and get them updated. These ones will update Windows. For example, here you can see cumulative updates for Windows 11. So you can make sure it is updated. After the class, I will ensure that these updates are done. So this is where you ensure that your security updates are done for your Windows, and some of the applications that are on your system, they also post updates here as well, but mostly for Windows. All right. Now, the second point here is to use trusted antivirus and anti-malware software. So you are expected to use antivirus software on your computer. Someone says that I don't need an antivirus. I am okay without antivirus, but it is very wrong. When it comes to preventing malware, it is highly essential that everyone has an antivirus. So on your computer, you need to have antivirus. You need to have antivirus software. Now, antivirus and anti-malware, sometimes we refer to it as anti-malware because it is actually dealing with malware. But when you call it antivirus, it is also 100% correct. As a matter of fact, they are known more as antivirus than anti-malware because viruses were one of the first types of malware to be discovered. And so when we created these things against viruses, we started calling them antiviruses, and antiviruses are known by people. And so it is just okay to call them antivirus, even though they can also clean up spyware and ransomware malware on your system. All right. So we call them antivirus or anti-malware. And sometimes some types of malware may be designed specifically for other types of malware that are not viruses at all. And so sometimes you can also call them anti-malware. All right. So antivirus and anti-malware software provides the first line of defense by detecting and removing threats before they cause harm. All right. So this particular antivirus, they detect and they remove threats. And so we spend some time looking at antivirus software to get some understanding of how they are. Because when it comes to antivirus software, you need to use them the right way. If you use antivirus software the wrong way, you can still get infected. Someone says that I have antivirus, but I'm still having virus. Of course, it is possible. It is possible. There are some viruses where they hide. Your antivirus cannot reach there. And how they are operating outside the reach of your antivirus. So you can have antivirus and still get infected unless you use it the right way. All right. So select reputable antivirus software. So today we'll mention some of them, the antivirus software that are reputable that you can actually use, and choose one from a trusted vendor. Ensure that it includes malware detection and removal capabilities. Then enable real-time protection. So today we'll mention the types of antivirus programs, and we'll talk about real-time protection. So you have to enable real-time protection. And then we also talk about on-demand protection and regular scanning. So we'll talk about all of that today. And then the last point here is saying that keep software updated. It's talking about antivirus software. Ensure your antivirus software is updated regularly to stay protected against latest threats. So what happens is that there are new threats created all the time. There are new viruses created all the time. In the afternoon class, we created a virus. All right. So this particular virus will be discovered and added to an antivirus. Sometimes antivirus creators, they study viruses, they discover viruses, and they build defenses for specific viruses in the antivirus, all right? And your antivirus is as good as its latest updates. You cannot use a 10-year-old antivirus to detect a malware created today or created this year. It is not possible, all right? So you can have antivirus, but it will still not work. One thing I don't save or keep is antivirus, because when it comes to antivirus, I always want to download the latest version and use it. And anytime you get the chance to update your antivirus, you have to do it quickly, because antivirus updates are really important to defending systems. Once your antivirus is outdated, it is no longer effective. And so, no matter what, if there is an update to be done and it is about your antivirus, that is the first thing you should do. The next thing we'll talk about here is called firewall security. Enable firewall security. Please put this in the chat for me. Enable firewall security. Please put this in the chat for me. Enable firewall security. All right, so just type firewall security for me, and I think that will be okay. Just type firewall security, and that will be fine. So there is something called firewall, and we also have the antivirus. All right, the antivirus is not the same as the firewall. The firewall is something else, and we want to take a look at the firewall as well. Now, this particular firewall helps prevent unauthorized access to your network and alerts you to suspicious activities. We have an image for firewalls, and anytime we talk about firewalls, you are likely to see this particular image, a brick wall that is blocking fire. Now, this concept of firewall was taken from construction, because in construction, we have special bricks or special walls that are made in a special way, and they are called firewalls. These firewalls are literally created in construction because of fire outbreak. And so whenever architects are planning a campus or a large architectural plan for a large facility, what they do is that they segment the facility. And this segmentation is done using what is called firewall. They use firewall to create the segmentation. The reason here is that in the event of a fire outbreak, they want only one segment to be affected. They do not want the fire to destroy the entire facility. So they intentionally segment the facility so that if there's fire outbreak in any of the segments, it is only that segment that will be destroyed. If you look at this wall very well, you can see that it is blocking the fire in front. So these walls are designed to stop fire. It is used in construction. In cybersecurity, this is a popular term in cybersecurity. Firewall could be a hardware or a software. In other words, we have hardware firewall and we also have software firewall. In large organizations, we have a device that is a firewall that is used to monitor the network traffic. Because anytime you hear firewall, its job is one, to monitor network traffic. Because anytime you are on a network, whether a local network or the internet, you are sending and receiving data packets. Anytime you click on a link, a request leaves your system online. That request goes to a server, the server processes it and brings feedback to you. So all the time, as you are watching videos, clicking on links, browsing, reading, you are exchanging data. The work of the firewall is to monitor incoming traffic and sometimes outgoing traffic. When I say traffic, I'm referring to the data packets that are continuously coming to your computer. The job of firewall is to ensure that any data packets that is suspicious, that could be from a hacker, is stopped before it can get to your system. So in large organizations, they use certain devices to prevent these attacks. And these devices are called firewalls. Today, what is happening is that most networking devices are being put into one box. And so sometimes you have a router, and that same router is also a firewall. That same router could also be an access point or a switch. So when you study networking, you come across several devices, and you learn that these days, they create one device that has multiple functionalities. And so sometimes the router used in the network is also a firewall. We also have special firewall on the servers that control the local networks. And through that firewall, the network administrator can control every data packet that comes in and can also control every data packet that leaves the network. And so in a company, they can use their firewall to prevent employees from browsing certain websites. In some companies, we don't browse Facebook. If you try it, it will not work because the IT department has blocked Facebook. How did they do it? They blocked it in the firewall. They can block certain social media sites, certain specific sites, and they will not work in their network. We also have firewall on every PC. So every computer has their own firewall. And so you have to ensure that your firewall is on. Firewall is not antivirus. Antivirus has its role to play. Firewall is another layer of security, and it also has its role to play. So it is essential that you also have firewall turned on your computer. I'm going to play a short clip about firewalls, and after that, I will show you where to find your firewall on your computer. Let me share my screen well. Let me know if you can hear the audio.
When we use the internet to shop, bank, or otherwise use our personally identifying information, we open ourselves up to many risks. Cyber threats like spyware, identity theft, and other attacks can all happen on a machine that isn't well protected. That's where a firewall, one of the most important security features you can have, comes in. A computer connected to the internet is constantly sending and receiving information. This information comes in small units called packets, and a firewall acts as a traffic cop for these packets. It's a layer of protection between your computer and cyberspace. It decides which packets are safe to let in and out, and which should be stopped at the door. There are 3 types of firewalls. Personal firewalls generally protect only one computer or a small home network. Departmental firewalls, which might protect a small business, protect a limited number of computers in one location. Finally, enterprise firewalls might protect thousands of users in various locations. Firewalls are also available in a number of formats. Many network routers, which connect computers to the internet and transfer data between different networks, have limited firewall capability. In other cases, you can use a firewall appliance, a piece of hardware integrated with firewall software. Some firewalls are software only. This category includes most personal firewalls, but some large enterprise firewalls are also software-based. Finally, a type of network device called the all-in-one tool is getting more popular. Some of these devices act as cable modem, router, network hub, firewall, and wireless base station all at once. Although these devices are cost-effective, often the firewall functions on these devices are limited. When you set up a firewall, you define the criteria for incoming and outgoing traffic. Blocking unwanted incoming traffic is the most common feature of a firewall, but a good one will also screen outgoing traffic from your network to the internet. For example, if you're an employer who wants to block employees from accessing certain websites. Firewalls can screen network traffic based on content and report on what kind of traffic is coming and going on your network. For example, some firewalls can integrate with a virus scanner or email program to screen out malware or suspicious email messages. Thanks for watching, and good luck protecting your system. Visit the Center for Identity's website for up-to-date information on all aspects of identity and privacy management.
All right. And so we have seen how firewalls work. Use both hardware and software firewalls. A hardware firewall built into your router most of the time provides perimeter security, while a software firewall on each device offers additional layer of protection. So your device has firewall. Configure your firewall properly. Ensure that firewalls are configured to block unauthorized traffic and monitor inbound and outbound connections. Regularly review your firewall settings. Periodically review and adjust firewall rules to align with your security need. So I'm going to share my screen again, and I'm going to show you the firewall on your device. Just as I went to settings and I showed you Windows Update, I'm going to close this and I'm going to show you the firewall. You can go to Control Panel and find Firewall, or you can just click here and type Firewall. When you type Firewall, you can see Windows Defender Firewall over here. Firewall can be found on Windows, can be found on Mac, and every system. So when you click on this, you see your firewall. So this is your firewall, and you can see that your firewall, let me show you here. You can see that it is turned on. Once your firewall is on, you will see that these parts are green. That shows that your firewall is on. Now, Windows Defender Firewall can help prevent hackers or malicious software from gaining access to your PC through the internet or a network. So when hackers are trying to gain access to your PC, because some of the things they are doing are suspicious, your firewall will prevent them from gaining access. Over here, your firewall can be turned on or off. And if your firewall is turned off and you save it, you are going to realize that these parts here now look red, and it means you are in danger. So always turn on the firewall. If you cannot locate firewall from searching, which you should always find, you can just open to control panel. When I open to this round box, I can type control or control panel here, and it's going to launch my firewall. Without typing, you can also search for control panel and find control panel. Over here, I'll see Windows Defender Firewall. Click on it, and I'm at the same place. All right, so firewall is very important when it comes to keeping your system safe. So enable firewall security. All right, the next point here is about using strong passwords. We've already talked about using strong passwords, and strong passwords are essential to safeguarding accounts and data from unauthorized access. Last time, we mentioned that every password you create moving forward should have 4 elements: uppercase, lowercase, symbol, and a number. Once you do this, it makes it very hard to crack your password. So first, create strong passwords with a combination of letters, uppercase and lowercase, numbers and symbols to create complex passwords that are difficult to guess or crack. Also use unique passwords. Ensure that each account has a different password to prevent a breach on one platform from compromising others. And also employ password manager. So here you've been advised to employ a password manager because it is better to use a password manager to securely store and generate strong passwords than creating simple passwords and writing them somewhere. Sometimes you use multiple passwords, and so it may be very difficult to memorize all of them. There are some passwords you can memorize, but most of your accounts, you need to store your password somewhere. And it is wrong to store it in a text file because once your machine is hacked, that text file will reveal your credentials. And so using a password manager is a very, very good option. The next point here is also talking about MFA. We've already talked about MFA, multi-factor authentication, and it adds an extra layer of security beyond just a password.
Keep all of your antivirus software up to date. If you do find a site in our search results that installs unwanted programs on your computer or redirects you somewhere that you did not intend to go, please let us know. Your report will help us improve the quality of our search results. To learn more about malware, please visit our Help Center. Thanks, and safe browsing.
All right. So number 6, we are going to talk about using USB drives and other external media. External media like USB flash drives, or what we call pen drives, can easily transmit malware between devices. In Africa, I think this is the #1 way of transmitting malware to computers. It is very, very easy to get infected by pen drives. Very, very easy. And so when it comes to being security conscious and following best practices, it is very important that you attach some form of caution to pen drives. You need to attach some caution to pen drives because if you don't do that, you can put your company in trouble. Your system can get infected. I see people collect pen drive from their friends, collect movies, collect things, and they just slot the pen drive into their computers anyhow without thinking about security at all. I see most people just take pen drives and handle pen drives anyhow. as a security trained person, you have to use this thing with caution. This thing you see here cannot just be used anyhow. There should be some level of caution you attach to it. So I'll be talking a little bit about pen drives and external hard drives as well. When it comes to pen drives, there is a way you handle your own pen drives, and there's a way you handle other people's pen drives. When it comes to your own pen drives, you have to ensure that you use it in your own systems. If your pen drive is for you, you can connect it to your system without worrying about it, because you know that it is only on your system that you connect to it, or you connect it to. And one of the things I'll say about pen drives is that pen drives was not created to be your main storage device. Although pen drives can store data, it wasn't made for backups or storing important data. No. If you have something that is important to you, you don't keep it on your pen drive. Your pen drive should not be where your vital data is stored. No, 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 not at all. Pen drive wasn't created for that, because it is very, very easy to get infections on your pen drive. Very, very easy, especially when your pen drive goes out. Imagine all your vital data, you have them on your pen drive, and you want to print something. You don't have a printer, you go to a print shop, and you want to print something from your pen drive. Know it that 99% of the time, anytime you go to a print shop and you give your pen drive to them to open a document and print, know it that you are infected. You are infected. I've never seen public computers go without infections. I have set up computers for schools for so long, and there is not even one time that the computers in the lab have survived 1 month or 2 weeks or even 1 week without all of them getting infected. There is no one time. Because students plug their pen drives in anyhow, and there is no single time for so many years that all the machines do not get infected. As a matter of fact, the machines will be infected so much that some of them cannot even start. And so anytime we set up public PCs, there's a way we configure it so that infections will be handled. And so anytime you go out to print, the machine that you are going to connect your pen drive to open your document, it is used for business, and hundreds of people access it in a day. Hundreds of different pen drives go into that machine in a day. So you have to know that if your pen drive goes there, you are infected 99% of the time. And so you have to understand that your vital data should not be on your pen drive, because it is very, very likely that it will be infected. Any vital data you have, number one, should be on your laptop. If it is on your pen drive, then you have a copy on your laptop. Number two should be on your external hard drive, which means everyone should have an external hard drive. Because your laptop is not even safe. So vital data should be stored on your external hard drive. Right now, I'm talking about USB flash drives, pen drives. And so anything on your pen drive, you already have it on your laptop or on your external hard drive. And so be ready to lose the data on your pen drive. The data on your pen drive should not be too important to you For me, my pen drives are almost always clean, unless I transferred some huge files to another PC and I have not removed them. My pen drives are almost always clean, and if I'm transferring things to someone, most of the time, it is only what I am transferring that is on it. This means that pen drives were created for data sharing when you want to share data with other people. They were not created for permanent storage. And so anytime your pen drive leaves your set of computers that you use and goes outside to an unknown computer, to an untrusted computer, a computer you don't know for sure, don't connect it to your computer like that again. Once it goes out, the moment you get it back, format it. Format it before you use it or before you open it, because there's a virus waiting to be activated. The moment you open the pen drive, you're infected. So if your pen drive leaves you to an unknown or untrusted or a public PC and comes back, format it. Don't care about the data you have on it because you already have a copy. That is why you should always have a copy of everything you have on your pen drive. If you receive something on your pen drive and you have to receive it, then make sure after receiving it, you format it. Sorry, you scan it before you open it. And there are certain things I'll talk about, especially when it comes to receiving things from other people using their pen drives or even your pen drives. The first thing is that you don't have to be so much interested in collecting files from people through pen drive. You shouldn't be so eager to do that. If someone wants to send something to you, let them send it to you through email. If it is important to receive something from someone, let it be sent to you through email. Because most of the time, once the document goes through email, it goes through a lot of scanning processes. Anytime you send something through Gmail, if it has malware, Google will not allow you to attach it. They will scan it. Most of the time, malware cannot travel through email most of the time. And so to receive something from someone, ask them to send it through email. And then you download it when you receive it. If the file is too large to be sent through email, you can use Google Drive or OneDrive to receive it. Or you can choose not to collect it in the first place. If you really have to collect it with your pen drive or with a person's pen drive, be careful, because you have to scan the pen drive before you connect it to your system. Your system should be so secured. You have to be so conscious of not getting infected. And when it comes to dealing with pen drives, it is very dangerous. These things are really dangerous. So if you don't attach caution to this, then your system is probably infected. There has to be some caution you attach to pen drives. If you really have to receive a pen drive from someone else, then first of all, plug it in a computer that is not too important like your main system. So if you have a second computer that is of a lesser value, then plug it onto that system and pick up the file you need and eject it and find a way to transfer it to your main system. There are some computers, they are so vital, they have vital data, they are used for special works that you can't handle anyhow. Don't be interested in plugging other people's pen drives in your system. Don't be interested in that at all. If you have a pen drive, wherever you connect it to, make sure those machines are trusted. There are some machines you just trust them that they are not infected. And your own machine, you know that they are not infected because you have taken all the security precautions. So if you are using your pen drive between your set of machines, you don't have to worry about connecting it anytime and anyhow. But when it goes out, be very careful. And when it is another person's pen drive, be very, very careful, especially if you don't know their system, you don't trust their system, you don't know where the pen drive has been, be very, very careful. This care is extremely important. When it comes to external hard drives, this is where you need to store your valuable data. If you have valuable data, you can put it on the cloud, on a private cloud, and you can keep it offline on your external hard drive. Your external hard drive is the best place to store your valuable data, even more than your laptop. Your laptop is not the safest place to store your vital data. There are some documents and data and some files and information. They are so important that you can't keep them only on your laptop. Because anything can happen to a laptop. Your laptop can crash. Your laptop can be formatted by mistake. Your drive can get corrupted. Your laptop can spoil. Your laptop can be stolen. So your life's work should not be on your laptop. If it is on your laptop, it is because you are picking it and using it. But your most valuable data should be on your external hard drive. If possible, on 2 hard drives, external hard drives, and one should be away from your house, if possible. But if not, you need to have your data on your external hard drive, and you keep your external hard drive somewhere safe. And you don't keep it around anyhow. Keep it safe and bring it out when you want to do backups. Because the last point we'll talk about will be about backups. And when you are using your external hard drive, use it with care. Never, ever plug your external hard drive in somebody's computer. Don't do that, especially if that computer is untrusted. Your external hard drive should only be connected to a trusted PC, your own PC or a PC you trust 100%. Because what is on your external hard drive is so important. If you want to give something to someone and that thing is on your external hard drive, you shouldn't plug your external hard drive in that person's PC. No, plug the external hard drive in your PC, use your formatted flash drive, copy the file onto the flash drive, and give the flash drive to the person. When you receive your flash drive back, format it again before you open it or use it. Don't keep your valuable things on your pen drive. And be ready to lose everything on this. Format your pen drive without worrying at all because you know you already have the data. And whenever you are formatting, please be sure that you are formatting the right drive, okay? Please be sure. I like to format pen drives anytime they go out. And my pen drives are always free and clean, and it's only what I'm sharing that is on it most of the time. But whenever you are formatting, be careful, open your eyes well, because if you choose a wrong drive and you format it, it will be a memorable day in your life. If you don't format the wrong drive, if you format the wrong drive, you are going to be very, very sorry. All right. So this point here, avoid untrusted media. Do not connect untrusted or unknown USB drives and external drives in your system. No. Number 2, scan external media. Always use antivirus software to scan any external media before accessing its content. There are some pen drives and USB drives. The moment you connect it onto your system, they have something called auto run. So the moment you connect it, it opens by itself and you see the files. That is very, very bad, because when a virus is on an external hard drive, the moment you open it, it will be activated. And so before you open it, you should probably scan it first. And if your computer is configured to use auto run, please disable it first. In your control panel, you can disable auto run. Also attach cautions to email and downloads. Emails and downloads are common vectors for malicious distribution. Just like the USB drives, vigilance is key to avoiding these threats. Verify the senders. Always check if you know the sender or if you have subscribed to the sender. If you receive a mail that you've not subscribed to, you don't know the sender, you don't trust the sender, never click on any link. And be mindful of phishing and spoofing. Avoid suspicious links and attachments. Do not click on links or download attachments from unknown or unexpected sources. So if you have never subscribed to that website or that company, or you don't know who the person is, you have not recognized the person, if there is a link, don't click. If there's an attachment, don't download it. And always use secure websites to download your files and your applications. If there's an application you want to use and it is online, you want to download, make sure you are downloading from the developer's website or the company that made the application. Don't download from strange websites, because any software you need, it was made by a company and the company has the link on their website. We also have websites that are used for general downloads, and so those websites are trusted and known. But don't download from unknown websites. There are some websites, they'll tell you to click here to download. When you click on it, they'll tell you to click here to download. When you click, they'll tell you to click here to download. When you click, they'll tell you to click here to download. When you click, they'll tell you to click here to download. Sometimes you never find it to download. Other times, they will let you click and click and click and be loading adverts and be loading different things until finally they give it to you. Sometimes you don't even get it. Those are not safe websites. A correct website will give you maximum 2 steps to download. Once you see a button to download and you click on it, they say click here to download. Either the download starts automatically or you click on a final link to download if it doesn't download automatically. 2 times and it will download. So be careful when you are downloading. The next point here is about the user privileges. Limit user privileges. Please type user privileges in the chat. Let me just be sure that you can hear me and you can see my screen and you are following. If you can see my screen and you can hear my voice, type user privileges. User privileges. User privileges. So let me see who is listening to me. User privileges. Anybody type in? User privileges. Please put that in the chat for me. User privileges. User privileges. User privileges. Anybody? My network is really misbehaving. My chat is not really loading well. I don't know if you guys are typing user privileges. If anybody has typed it. So I just want to believe that you can hear me and you can see my screen. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, please, you are.
Okay. I've still not seen anything in the chat. Okay, I just saw one yes and another yes. My network is messing up, but it will be fine. So user privileges, I've not seen any user privileges in the chat yet. Maybe it's still loading. Anyway, so we have what is called user privileges. Anytime you create an account on a PC, you can either make the account an administrator account or a standard account. So we have standard accounts and we also have administrator accounts. Whenever you are creating a user account, you see those options, standard accounts and administrator accounts. These options are always available whenever accounts are being created. Thank you so much. The chat has loaded now. I have a lot of user privileges. All right. Now, an administrator account has administrator level privileges. This means that that account allows scripts to run, allows installation to be done, allows permission to be granted if it is an admin account. And so whenever you are creating accounts for people on your PC, provide them with the standard account, not the admin account. Because once you give an admin account, what will happen is that things can be done. Malware can run on those accounts. And the main lesson here is this. You yourself, it is best to leave your admin account down and create a standard account for yourself. And use the standard account for your everyday work. And use your admin account only when necessary. Because if you use a standard account, that account doesn't have administrative rights. This means that if a virus is activated on that account, that virus will have a lot of limitations because it will not get admin right to run in the background and install things and operate fully. So if you are using a standard account, it minimizes the risk of getting infected. Number two, if you use a standard account and you have to do something with admin privileges, you are going to get a pop-up to enter the admin password. I don't know if you've seen that before. Let's say you are trying to install something or change settings using a standard account. There will be a pop-up that says that enter the administrator password. Since you have the administrator password, you can type it and you can do what the standard account cannot do. because you provided the admin password. This means that even with a standard account, you can run an installation, because when they ask for the admin password, you have it. But someone who doesn't have the admin password cannot do installation in a standard account. And so using a standard account helps minimize malware. So be conscious about limiting user privileges. Even in other accounts that are not computer user accounts, but are accounts on web applications or certain platforms like cloud platforms and other platforms, make sure that users that you create account for, you are very cautious about who has admin access. Always limit user privileges. Restricting user privileges minimizes the impact of a potential malware infection. Avoid using admin accounts for routine tasks. Encourage users to operate with standard user accounts to limit exposure. Grant minimal privileges. Provide users with only the access they require to perform their roles. Regularly review access rights on your systems. Number 9, educate users and raise awareness. Human error is a significant factor in many malware infections. So regular education can mitigate risks. Number 1, you yourself should be educated regularly when it comes to best security practices. You yourself, you require regular education on best security practices. And if you are in charge of a team, or you are around a team or other people who use systems that you all use, it is best to provide education, because education is the first line of defense even before antivirus. Education is more powerful than any tool. And so we use knowledge, expertise, and tools to prevent malware. And the knowledge comes from education. Sometimes insider threats work not because the insiders are bad, but the insiders are manipulated through social engineering. And because we are not educated, they are a vulnerability that attackers can exploit. So education is very important. Conduct training sessions, train employees on cybersecurity best practices, including recognizing phishing attempts and safe browsing habits. Promote a security-aware culture, encourage reporting of suspicious activities, and foster a proactive security mindset. In a company, everyone is part of the security team, even the cleaners. They are all part of the security team. And so ensure that employees are trained. Use real-world example, share case studies of recent malware attacks to highlight risks and effective prevention methods. Today, you saw how easy it is to hack. Some of the phishing attacks, you can just create them with certain tools, and they start working immediately. And the IPs you use to set up, you can mask it with a URL shortener or even a real domain name, and you change the DNS settings. In the webmaster class, you learn a lot about DNS settings, server management, hosting, and all that. This afternoon, someone asked a question about penetration testing, and he was told that you have to know a lot of things to be able to get the understanding you need. So you need to know about hosting, servers, domains, protocols, HTTPS, and a number of things to be aware. So after the cybersecurity training, which we are likely to begin in a fresh week next week, because tomorrow we have our final lesson to learn how to remove malware from infected systems, how it is supposed to be done. You are going to be exposed to a whole lot of things to give you an understanding on how to manage so many things. It's going to be a training that will make a tremendous impact in your career. That training will change a lot for you, will move you to a whole new level. It is a masterclass and a true masterclass. By the time we finish, you will attest that this training has helped you a lot. So let's prepare, let's get ready for the training. And by then, I believe that everyone here would have completed the admission and will be passed, because this week is our final grace period. And there are a number of things that have delayed because we are waiting for you. All right. So the last point here is regular backups. So regular backups are essential for recovering from malware attacks, particularly ransomware. If you ever get a ransomware attack and you do not want to make payments, you have to rely on your backups. This means if you don't do backups, then you have no data. Your data is in the hands of the attackers. But if you have backup, you can choose not to pay, reset your systems, and restore your backup. If your backup is too old, that means you are going to lose a lot of recent data. And so do backups regularly. If you own a website, always download the database. If you have the files of the website already, always download the database, because people are using the website all the time. So always get a copy of the database. If anything happens, you have a copy of the database. If you don't have all the files on a trusted system, you can download the full backup of the website regularly. In a company, make sure that vital data are regularly backed up. Have an external hard drive and back up your important files, because something can happen to your PC. It can be infected with malware and your files can be corrupted. Something can happen and you have to lose everything. If your life's work is on your laptop, that is a threat. Your life's work should not be on your laptop. Please have an external hard drive. All right, so regularly back up to multiple locations such as external hard drives and secure cloud services. Ensure secure cloud backups. Store backups in locations that are not directly connected to the primary network to prevent malware from spreading. Test backups and recovery procedures. Periodically test backups to ensure they can be restored promptly and effectively. All right, so from now, we are going to talk a little bit about antiviruses, and then we'll end this part of the training. And the last thing to be covered will be how to remove malware from infected systems. And we'll be done with the cybersecurity fundamentals. And so if you are ready, we are going to talk about antivirus. Please type antivirus in the chat for me if you can hear me loud and clear. Type antivirus in the chat for me. Type antivirus in the chat. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, when it comes to antivirus software, the first thing you have to understand is that there are two types of antivirus software. We have what is called real-time antivirus. Please put that in the chat. Real-time antivirus. Then we have on-demand antivirus. Real-time, put hyphen in the middle, real-time antivirus. Then we have on-demand antivirus. Also put a hyphen between on and demand, on-demand antivirus. Sometimes one antivirus can have both features. Other times, Other times, the antivirus may be one of these two. A real-time antivirus works like a police on patrol that protects the system as the system is in use. It protects the system as the system is in use. When I use the term real time, it means something that is happening in the moment. And so as you use your machine and you click here, you click here, you go here, you go here, your real-time antivirus is following everything you are doing. And it works when the computer is in use. Remember the phrase I used. When the computer is in use. This means that they don't target malware that are already on the system. That's not their target. They target malware that wants to get in. So they are always patrolling in memory. They are patrolling wherever you are working, and they ensure that if malware wants to get in, let's say you are about to download something. If they see malware, they'll stop you. They say, don't download this. If you click on a suspicious link, before the link loads, they'll tell you, don't continue. Because they follow you as you use your computer. Sometimes, when some people want to download something and they themselves, they know that the antivirus will not allow them to download, you know what they do? They disable the antivirus before they download. So they welcome the danger. Well, they don't think of danger, but they disable the antivirus. This means that the antivirus is working as your machine is in use. That type of antivirus is called real-time antivirus. Sometimes you want to do an installation on your system, and the installation has a suspicious activity within it. And so your antivirus blocks it and doesn't allow you to install. That antivirus is called real-time antivirus. And if you still want to install, what people do is that they disable the antivirus. And so on their system, you will see that they will intentionally go to the antivirus and they will say that they will click here and find the antivirus on their system. Then they will right click on it. Then they will look for where they can turn it off. Okay. So here under change settings, I'll go to real-time scanning. This is what we are talking about. Then once that is open, they will click here and turn it off. You see this is for real-time scanning. This real-time scanning continuously protects your system against viruses and other malware. Anytime you use a file, So it's a good idea to keep it turned on because this real-time antivirus is a police that works when your computer is in use. The moment you turn it off, you'll be told that your system is not protected. So they still give you the option to turn it off for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 60 minutes, or whenever you choose, or never if you want. But the moment this thing goes off, your system is no longer protected. This is called real-time antivirus. The second one is on-demand antivirus. I didn't see that in the chat. Please type on-demand antivirus. Hyphenate the on and the demand. If you can hear me, type on-demand antivirus. On-demand antivirus. Please put that in the chat for me. On-demand antivirus. Thank you. Thank you. On-demand antivirus. On-demand antivirus is a scanner or an antivirus that allows you to scan your computer when you instruct it to scan. So where we went over here under the notification icons, sorry, I can click here and tell my antivirus to scan. Tell it to perform a full scan or a quick scan. This one here is an instruction I am giving. This means it scans on demand when you demand it. If you connect a drive to your system, you connect a USB flash drive to your system, and you tell your system to scan it, you are doing an on-demand scan. This antivirus I have here, I can come here and tell the antivirus to do a manual scan. Manual scan means an on-demand scanning. I can control the settings, let it run fast, or choose this option, or I can change the types and say that do a quick one. A quick one will work very fast and will only focus on areas that malware is known to hide, because most of the time malware is known to hide at certain places. Tomorrow we'll talk a little bit about that. Please, can you see my screen? Sonia, can you see my screen? Okay. All right. You can also perform a full scan. When you say full scan, the full scan will scan every area of your computer. Of course, this is what I want you to see. Oh, never mind. A full scan will scan every location, but a quick scan will scan only locations where malware is known to hide. Tomorrow we'll talk a little bit about it. And so we have some antivirus programs that are designed for on-demand scanning, and we have antivirus programs that are designed for real-time scanning. Most of them offer both real-time and on-demand. For example, the McAfee antivirus I am using right now offers both real-time scanning and on-demand scanning. You have to have that understanding, because sometimes you may find an antivirus that is only a real-time scanner or provides only on-demand scanning. It has been said that you should not use two antivirus programs on one computer. I don't know if you've heard it before, but it has been said that do not use two antivirus programs on a computer. In the video we just watched from Google, you heard, I don't know if you heard it, that it is best to use more than one antivirus to scan it, because there are different variants of malware and different focuses of antivirus software. Some antivirus software are designed specifically for some types of malware. And so if a system is infected and you want to clean it, or you want to confirm if it has no malware and you are performing a scan, sometimes it is right to use more than one antivirus. And so when it comes to on-demand scanning, you can use more than one. As a matter of fact, you should have about 3 antivirus software if you really want to do a proper scan. However, It is also true that you should have only one antivirus, but then it is only true about real-time scanning, because real-time antivirus operates in your memory and operates live as you use your computer. And so if you have two real-time scanners, it is actually unnecessary. You just need the right real-time scanner. You don't need two. This is why they say it is wrong to use two antivirus programs, which means the right understanding is that it is wrong to use two real-time antivirus programs, but it is right and highly recommended to have more than one antivirus on your system, especially when you are ready to perform a scan. And so if you install more than one antivirus and they all provide real-time scanning, then disable real-time on the others and keep only one for real-time. If you understand what I've said, please let me know in the chat that I understand. If you understand all that I said, please let me know in the chat that I understand. Anybody who gets what I said? All right. Thank you, Manuel. The second thing you should know about antivirus is this. The second thing you need to know about antivirus is this. We have free antivirus and we have premium antivirus. Please put that in the chat. Free and premium antivirus. Please put that in the chat. Free and premium antivirus. Please put that in the chat. Free and premium antivirus. Free and premium antivirus. Please put that in the chat. Thank you. Most of the time, it is said that free things are not good. But when it comes to antivirus, free antivirus does not mean at all that it is inferior. At all, it does not mean that. As a matter of fact, if you are using the right antivirus, because most of the time you should be thinking about the right antivirus. If you have the right antivirus, the free version gives you total protection. It does not mean at all that it is not good. Most of the time, the free antivirus from the right source is created for individual use, and the premium versions are created for corporate and licensing purposes. Even if you're an individual, you can still go for a premium antivirus, which is a paid version or a license, to get some extra layers of protection and extra security features. However, the free version does not mean at all that it is inferior. We have performed tests of antivirus. We have performed tests with free antivirus, and we have discovered that free antivirus does not mean at all that it is inferior. And so, if you have the right antivirus, the free version is enough to protect your system. And so, we will provide a list of some antivirus programs that are recommended that you can use. Now, premium antivirus refers to antivirus that you pay for or you pay a license for. They offer enterprise solutions and special security protections, sometimes for specific things. You can use premium antivirus as an individual, but most of the time they are designed for corporate use. Sorry. This is the second thing you should know about antivirus. So premium or free does not mean it is not good. So you can download the free version of the right antivirus. If you are using advanced antivirus, you have to understand that the free version gives you all the protection you need. The only thing you need to understand again about antivirus is that antivirus is as good and only good as its recent update. You cannot use a 10-year-old antivirus to scan for modern viruses. Sorry. You can't do that. It's not allowed. So, like I said, one thing I don't keep is antivirus. I don't store antivirus. Most of the time, we store a lot of applications. For example, you may have Photoshop set up and you store it because next time, if you want to install Photoshop on another computer, you will want to use the setup you have. Sometimes even Microsoft Office, for us as a company, we subscribe to Office 365, so we don't need to worry about Microsoft Office. We have the latest version every month from Office 365. But if you are not part of a company that uses Office 365, then you may have to have the setup of Office that you have stored somewhere. So if you get a new PC, you want to install the Office on it. So sometimes we tech people, we like to keep applications. We do that a lot. Even operating systems, we keep. Windows 10, we have Windows 10 Professional Edition. We have Windows 10 stored somewhere. We have a lot of applications. Some of us have stored applications for more than 10 years. So one application or one thing I don't store, one software I don't store ever is antivirus. Because anytime I need and I'm installing a new system, I will go online to the manufacturer or developer or the company and download the latest version. I always download the latest version for installation. I don't use an old version, even if it's just 1 month old, I don't use it. I download the latest version because the latest version has the latest updates. And anytime you are using your antivirus and you see a pop-up for update, please install the update immediately. Sometimes they update for you automatically. So the automatic update works. So they don't even tell you because they know how important it is. But if you are notified to install update for your antivirus, never think twice. There are some antivirus software, before they do scanning, especially on-demand scanning, they will update first. Like Malware, I'll talk to you about Malware. It will update first before it does scanning. Updating antivirus is so important. If your antivirus is not updated, then it is not good. So the real-time antivirus looks at the loopholes and the entry points of malware. And as you use your computer, they monitor entry points so that malware doesn't get onto your system. But if a malware has found its way onto your system because they are very creepy malware, then your on-demand scanner will be used to scan them at certain intervals. This means that you need to schedule regular scanning. At least once a month, your machine should be scanned. Worst case scenario, every quarter, every 3 months, your machine should be scanned. I can hear someone saying that I've never scanned my machine before. Or it's been a whole year, I've not scanned my machine. When was the last time you actually sat down to scan your machine? So when it comes to on-demand scanning, you need to do it at regular intervals, and you can set it or schedule the scanning. You can schedule it to scan on Sundays or at night when your machine is not in use. You can schedule regular scans to scan. All right. You can schedule regular scans to scan your machine when it is not in use. So on specific days at night, your machine can do its scanning. Make sure it doesn't go into sleep mode when it is scanning. When you know your machine will be scanning, make sure it stays up during the scan. Maybe you are sleeping, but ensure that it doesn't go into sleep mode. Let it do the scanning. So what we have talked about are best security practices. These are habits. These are things we do. I don't know if as part of what we were talking about, we mentioned the use of strong passwords. I'm sure we talked about that. Do you remember we talking about using strong passwords and using MFA? All right. So there are certain things, they have to be part of you. Always make sure that you create passwords right. And so following these best security practices will prevent malware. And you can use your computer for years without ever getting infected. This is very important, and this will help you keep your system safe. The last thing I'm going to mention will be to mention some antivirus programs that you can use. And so I'm going to give you a number of them that you can go ahead and use. So what I will do now is to just show you some that you are free to use. At least I'm going to recommend some to you. So let me show you my recommendation. Number one, Avast is a good antivirus that you can use. Offers both real-time and on-demand scanning. AVG is a good antivirus you can use. Defender Total Security is a good antivirus you can use. McAfee Total Protection is a good antivirus you can use. Kaspersky is a good antivirus you can use. Has always been good. As for Kaspersky, since it started till now, it has always been good. There are some antivirus software that were good some years ago, but today are not that good. After some years, they were not that good. Today, one of the most powerful antivirus software we have is Malwarebytes. Malwarebytes could have been on this list, probably at number 1. The only reason I don't have it on the list is that it is only the premium version that gives you both real-time and on-demand. The free version only gives you on-demand. You will only get real time for 15 days. After 15 days, the real time feature will be disabled. If Malwarebytes had given real time and on demand for free, it would have been my first choice. However, you can have it for on-demand scanning purposes. And anytime you really want to scan a system, make sure Malwarebytes is part of the on-demand scanners you are using. And so if you ask me of my top 3 antivirus software, I'll choose Avast, Kaspersky, and Malwarebytes. These are my top 3. If I'm really cleaning a system and I want to ensure that the malware is gone, I'm going to use Avast, Kaspersky, and Malwarebytes. There is one that is also doing well. It's called Trend Micro Maximum Security. These are some antivirus programs you can use. And in this lesson, we have gotten knowledge about antivirus. Norton was very, very good some years ago. After some years, they were not good again. Today, I'm still seeing Norton as part of the best antivirus today. I've not confirmed, but Norton probably is doing very well now. Some antivirus programs are like that. They used to be very good, but now they are not that good. And the ones I'm giving you here are antivirus programs that we have actually researched and tested and compared against others and seen their effectiveness. Norton, ESET are all good antivirus programs. The fact that they are not on this list does not mean they are not good. The ones I'm showing you are the ones that we have actually benchmarked, tested, and seen their effectiveness. And so I'm not saying that any other antivirus is not good. That's not what I'm saying at all. We have not done tests on them. So what I'm showing you are the ones that we have tested and I'm recommending for you. Of course, there are others. If I had time to give you 10, I will add some others as well. ESET has always been a good antivirus program. Norton used to be good. Some time came, they were not that good, but now I'm seeing Norton on the top list again. And so Norton is probably very, very good now. So I believe you've learned something tonight, and all the information we've gathered about security, plus what we learned this afternoon, has given you a lot of perspective about security and hacking, and you've seen how cyber threats are real. Cyber threats are real. You see, cyber threats are real. And again, when you are learning cybersecurity, you are not learning to commit crime. You know that it's very easy to commit crime. It's very easy to take somebody's money. It's very easy to do something bad. If you have a tool that can cause damage to someone, it's very easy to use it. And so knowing how to do something bad does not mean you have to do it. Sometimes in the course of education, you are made aware of how things are done, but it does not mean you should do them. And so we are for defense, not offense. Offense is crime. It is criminal. It is illegal. And if you do that, the law can get you. So we are for defense. Please put that in the chat. We are for defense. Please put that in the chat. We are for defense. Let me see that in the chat. We are for defense. Let me see that in the chat. We are for defense. We are for defense. Thank you, Yvonne. Yvonne, thank you, Oluwafemi. Thank you, thank you, thank you all. And this is where we draw the curtain. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, we will learn how to remove infections. Thank you and good night.